Hello everybody, Dylan here today. Now today we are going to be doing a top 10. Today's top 10 is going to be top 10 robot versions of Sonic. Now, I'm going to try to be a little bit more original with this list, so don't get upset that Metal Sonic isn't here. So, let's get into this video today on DHT. Number 10, Mecha Sonic. Now, the reason why Mecha Sonic is getting on this list is this Mecha Sonic can go supersonic. He was able to stand both Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles, and Tails. And overall, I just really like his design. Most Metal Sonics or Robot Sonics are tiny, slim, and designed to go fast. This robot version of Sonic was solely designed to beat the crap out of him. I really like his Terminator-esque look, and I think he deserved his spot at number 10. Now, number 9 isn't on here for any feat he accomplished himself. Hell, he doesn't even have a name. He is solely on here because I want to tell you the story about how he came into existence. Sonic in the Archie comics was pulled into another dimension by Sonic the Zone Cop. When he was pulled into this other dimension, he was told that a Chaos Emerald had mutated the wildlife, meaning that there was monstrous Godzilla version of all of his friends. Well, it turns out Dr. Robotnik is good in this universe, and his name is Kento Bar, and his job is to go beat the crap out of the now mutated Mobians and take the Chaos Emerald so he can stop the mutation. Sonic does this, and to honor Sonic, Dr. Kento Bar builds him a robot. That robot is seen right here. We know nothing about this robot. We don't know how strong this robot is, but he has a Chaos Emerald, or at least half of the Chaos Emerald, embedded into his chest, meaning that chances are he's probably one of the most strongest versions of Metal Sonic out there, because Metal Sonic models that only had a shard of an emerald were able to do incredible feats. So if we ever do get any information on this man, chances are he's actually really strong, and I just love his backstory. Sonic ended up leaving before he could get a name for this robot, so sadly this robot has no name. Number 8 is Cyborg Sonic from Sonic Boom. Now, if you hadn't seen Sonic Boom, you would just think there's a generic copy of Sonic the Hedgehog, but in reality, it's much more. For those of you who have seen Sonic Boom, you would know that this is not just a robot, it's also a clone made by Bolts. Now, because he's a clone, he can match Sonic's speed in Sonic Boom, he has all the same abilities as Sonic in Sonic Boom, and he has Sonic's brain, meaning that he can think identical to Sonic. But he doesn't have the weaknesses Sonic has. He has hard metal skin, meaning that it's incredibly hard to destroy him. He can shoot lasers from the tips of his fingers, and he can fly using boosters in his boot. This guy is better than Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog is not needed in Sonic Boom because this clone / robot is 10 times better than he ever will be. Sadly, Sonic Boom is cancelled, so we never really got to show this guy flexing, but in the few episodes he was featured in, he is Sonic's equal, and I think he definitely deserves a spot, number 8. Now, if you see my Doppelgangers video, you're gonna think that this sounds really familiar, and that's because our next character takes heavy influences from a story from the Fleetway comics. This character is, at number 7, Future Sonic. Now, this Future Sonic came back from the future to tell Sonic about how his future was destroyed by Eggman, how he lost everything, including his eye. His design is really cool. He loses all of Sonic's bright colors, and instead he has a trench coat. He has battle scars, including losing one of his eyes. He takes heavy influences from Nick Fury, Terminator. He just looks really cool and badass. Now, it turns out that this actually isn't a future Sonic the Hedgehog because Sonic doesn't trust him and follows him around to see what he's doing. And then he catches him talking to Robotnik, and he realizes that this is a robot. This isn't even really a special robot. He wasn't designed with any special abilities. He's just your average run-of-the-mill robot, so they're able to defeat him pretty easily. I put him on here not because of his strength or his feats. I put him on here for his design and his story. If you haven't read the story, go out and read it. It's really good. It's called Sonic Tales of Deception. It's a kid's novel, but it's a pretty good story. Number 6 is from the Archie comics, and it is Captain Metal. Captain Metal originally started off as Sonic 3.0 until he was destroyed by Blaze the Cat. Then he fell into the ocean, and he slowly climbed his way back on top. His body being destroyed, he had to rely on plundering other robot pirates and stealing their parts. So when you look at him, he is actually pretty scary. He has weird limbs because those aren't his own. He has weird crab-like legs that make him even more menacing. He has a weird claw for an arm. Not to mention, half of his face has been destroyed, making him really menacing. Now, he wasn't actually serving to do an Eggman plot when he became Captain Metal. Instead, he just wants to gather the Soul Emerald and use them to destroy Blaze and take over her world. And he was actually achieving his goal. He won multiple fights with Blaze the Cat and other Mobians. He's actually stronger than any Metal Sonic I had seen. Any standard Metal Sonic, anyway. Well, eventually he has to go up against Super Blaze, and he goes the way of every robot Sonic. He's torn to bits. But because he's not dumb and he actually knows what he's doing, he ended up backing his brain up into one of Eggman's computers. And I'm sure if the Archie comics would have continued, we would have seen more of him. For being so resourceful and being so menacing, he definitely deserves his spot here at number 6. Number 5 is Mecha Sonic. Now this Mecha Sonic is not the same as earlier. This is instead a roboticized version of Sonic the Hedgehog, meaning that he can move as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's even stronger than Sonic the Hedgehog because his robot parts give him a strength boost. This guy is able to lock onto targets, he's able to see heat signatures, meaning that if you're hiding, he can find you and he will kill you. He can shoot blasts out of his hands, he can fly. The only reason why he was stopped is because Knuckles turned himself into a robot and beat the crap out of him. He is freakishly strong, and I'm sure that he could take out all the Freedom Fighters by himself and help Eggman take over the world if it wasn't for another fighting robot kicking his ass. Number 4 is Shard the Metal Sonic. This is the original Metal Sonic in the Archie comics. He was defeated by Sonic the Hedgehog and then upgraded by Eggman to have a crystal inside of him. That crystal gives him the ability to think like a normal animal would, and it allows him to actually keep on the same pace as Sonic the Hedgehog. He can shoot nets out of his hands, he can move practically at the same speed as Sonic the Hedgehog, possibly faster at one point, and he was a even fight for Sonic. And he ended up actually developing a sense of justice, and he ended up saving Sonic from falling into lava, but he fell in the lava. Then he was recovered later on and he was given a new design and he actually became a good guy. I would keep going, but his history is pretty big. Just know his abilities are very similar to that of Metal Sonic's but amplified, and unlike Metal Sonic, he actually has a personality and he actually is self-aware. So he can decide what is good or evil and he doesn't have to serve anyone. Number 3 is a superpowered hedgehog named Cosmic. Cosmic came flying into Mobius in the Fleetway comics claiming to be a superhero there to help Sonic and friends. Sonic isn't dumb, so he immediately caught on and realized he was a robot. To test him to see if his superpowers are real, he decided to challenge him to a race. Cosmic couldn't even get through a loop-de-loop. Then, when Cosmic was defeated, he revealed his true form to be Metamorpha. Metamorpha is a shape-shifting robot from the Fleetway comics. So that means that Cosmic would have all the same abilities, powers, and strength of Metamorpha. Yeah, he can't run as fast as Sonic, but he's practically stronger than Sonic, and he can fly, he can shape his body into any form, and he can create weapons out of nowhere, meaning that his potential is actually really high. Now, this wouldn't be the last time we'd see Metamorpha. Metamorpha would also turn to some civilians sometime to trick Sonic, and she even turned into his brother, Tonic. Sonic never really falls for these traps. I don't know why she kept trying this, but Metamorpha is definitely a threat, and in return, Cosmic is a threat. So just know if you ever see this weird green man online, he is not Sonic the Hedgehog, he is not related to Sonic the Hedgehog, he is instead a robot. Number 2 is Emperor Metallix. Now in the Fleetway continuity, the Metal Sonics ended up going rogue and creating their own cult. When they created their own cult, they needed a leader. So instead of looking for someone or getting one of them to be a leader, they built a leader. That is Emperor Metallix. Emperor Metallix towers over all of the other Metal Sonics. He is giant. Not to mention, it's claimed that he's made of gold. This really shows just how cool he is. He's dark red color. You can see a weird shine to him. Not to mention, his chair that he sits on claims to have anti-gravity features. It can teleport. It can suspend people in midair. He has a lot of really cool features, and I think think he was definitely built to be the leader of these robots. We never really got to see him do much, but I'm sure he would actually be stronger than all the other Metallics or Metal Sonics in that comic. It's really a shame that we never really got a conclusion to his arc, and we never really got a conclusion to his character. He's a really cool character with a really cool design, and it's interesting to see how many Metal Sonics go rogue despite the continuities being so different. He definitely earned a spot at number 2 though. Number 1 is Sonic Man. Not the Sonic Man from Sonic 06, but instead the Sonic Man from the Sonic Mega Man crossover in the Archie comics. This Sonic was roboticized, but not just roboticized. He was roboticized with Wily's technology and Eggman's technology, meaning that he is as strong as the Mecha Sonic from earlier, but even more so. He also has Mega Man's copy ability. He can create force fields, he can gather ring energy to amplify his power, and he can use chaos abilities because he is a roboticized Mobian, meaning that the potential of how strong he is fucking insane. Not to mention he also has Mega Man's Mega Blaster, which can be supercharged up, meaning that if he were to go rogue or no one was able to stop him or revert him back to Sonic, he could actually destroy everyone and everything, because with Mega Man's copy ability, he can kill a bunch of other robot masters, steal their abilities, and continue to upgrade himself and become an unstoppable killing machine. His potential is too high, and he is definitely greater than any Sonic robot that's ever existed. So that was my 10 robot versions of Sonic. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did like this video, hit the like button. If you really liked this video, then share it, and if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.